Hi, it's me, Vanessa, and welcome to Math Therapy. Okay, so earlier this month, I keynoted the Mighty Peace Teachers Convention in Grand Prairie, Alberta, which was so special because, guys, it was actually my first time back there since 2020. And what's even crazier is back in 2020, it was the first time I had ever presented at a teachers convention in my life. And that happens to be when I met today's guest, Kylie Fraser, a math teacher with math trauma who ended up in one of my sessions back in 2020 and who I've stayed in touch with for the past 6 years. We finally reunited IRL and we were like, oh my God, you know what we should do? We should totally record a podcast like 30 minutes before I do my keynote. So that's what we did. I sat down with Kylie in her very own classroom, which was so cool. And even though Kylie doesn't even teach math anymore, she has still made it her mission to make sure that the math culture at her school is immaculate. She's also made it her mission to make sure that the math culture in her household is immaculate for her daughter. If you work at a school in any capacity, I'm so excited for you to hear Kylie's tips on how to make sure that math anxiety does not dominate those hallways. And even if you're not in education, Kylie shares practical tips you can use like right now to make sure that those around you aren't reinforcing negative stereotypes about math. Make sure you share this episode with as many people as you can because it truly takes a village to change the bad rep that math has developed. But we can all be the change we wish to see. Also, before we get into the convo, I've got exciting news. Math Therapy now has its own Facebook group, a community of amazing people just like you sharing tips, advice, and magical math therapy moments. 2 amazing teachers from Michigan, Karen and Ryan, started it, and all you have to do to join is head to Facebook, type Math Therapy in your search bar, and request to join. We are already at 100 people as of the recording of this podcast episode, and we are growing every day, so please join in. Okay. Now for what you actually came here for, my interview with Kylie. Okay, I'm here with Kylie. We are at Mighty Peace Teachers Convention in Grand Prairie, and the way we know each other is 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I presented here.
Yeah.
And we had a rom-com moment.
Yeah.
I want you to tell the story of how you remember.
It was like, I saw your presentation
by accident
listed, and I thought math trauma, like that sounds like me. So then I on a whim went to your presentation, and as you spoke, I was just like, this girl is me. Like I can connect to everything you're saying. It was like crazy. And my husband was sitting next to me and he was just like, you guys are the same. And like everything she stands for is exactly like what you need. And I was like, absolutely. And then I told you my story about how I have math trauma. I'm currently teaching math.
But tell everyone else.
And yeah, so it
like
was,
at the time, what were you teaching?
I was teaching grade 9 math and science. And yeah, I was so nervous because I had my own math trauma. And so I had to really like check myself and be like, you are a teacher, you are capable, you have all the tools you need, you can do this. But your brain really tricks you into thinking that you can't do it because of years of like neglect to yourself. And so, yeah, I taught grade 9 math. And ever since meeting Vanessa, I've just changed the way that I speak about math. And now that I'm not so much in the math world, in my building, I do like to check other people and make sure that they know to use proper math language and to not speak about being a math person. So I've taken your practices into my religion room.
Here's the funniest thing about this is I love that are you a trained actor? Because you went full promo mode. She turned to the camera. Okay, for those listening, she turned to the camera and started speaking about me in third person. I used Vanessa's, that was amazing. I did not pay her to do that. Okay, so I want to go back a bit. First of all, that was very well articulated. We're actually sitting here together because I'm about to do a keynote and Kylie generously offered to jump on the pod before we did it, which is the perfect hype up for me. Do you feel comfortable sharing like what you feel your experience was with math that led to math trauma? Like were there specific things?
Yeah, like in school, the teachers would be like, oh, you're not smart enough to go into like the regular math
like
class
they said
in
that?
High school. Yeah, in like grade 9, you like start streaming yourself and they were like, you're going to go into like the low math. And I was like, but I feel like I'm not low math. I felt like I wasn't. And then I'm being quite honest, I blocked a lot of that out from my memory, which is awful. But like, I don't have a ton of memories from high school about math because it is so like, yeah, your brain protects you and like gets rid of it. But yeah, they basically said that I like couldn't do that math. And so I convinced myself that I wasn't a math person. But I didn't have anyone who like said, actually, girl, you're crazy. You're not. Like, that's not a thing. I just kind of believed it all the way through. And then I got to university and I took stats math and I failed it twice. And I've learned it's just because I didn't push myself enough. Like I definitely could have done better and all of the things, but I didn't push myself and I just let myself fail it. So yeah.
Can I add, like, it's interesting because like I hear you say that and I'm like, oh, like I don't want you to, like, because I feel so self-blamey to be like, I didn't push myself. And I wonder if, and tell me if I'm incorrect, do you feel like you didn't push yourself because you didn't believe you could do more or because there was no one supporting you? Like
both, totally.
Okay.
So like I do have a like family side of trauma too, where I didn't have a support person in my life. So that contributes to it. Like I didn't have a supportive family being like, you can do whatever you want to do. But also that contributed to me not having it in my own self to be like, you can do it. So there was a twofold there.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's so important to note. This idea of like, even when we look at our students and we're like, they're not pushing themselves, often the voice in their head is the voice of those around them.
Yeah.
That's really important to know that like we have to have that compassion of being like, our students, they're kids, right? And actually, even as adults, like the voices that tell us whether or not to push ourselves often come from years of what people have told us.
Yeah.
So like, yes, now you can reflect on that. Yeah. But okay, so what I also want to go back to, first of all, thanks for sharing that. And like, I'm so sorry, that just sucks. Yeah. But look at you now, right? So 6 years ago, you come to my session. Yay, I'm so glad you were there. And I think you spoke in front of the whole room when you shared this. It was like such a moment we had.
Yeah. And that was the first time I ever like openly admitted that like I had math trauma or that I had anxiety about teaching math. I was very like, that was my like aha moment where I'm like, oh yeah, I am and I do. And I said the things out loud for the first time, which was like liberating and validating.
Wow. Oh my God, you're making me feel so good. But you know what I'm also thinking, honestly? This is like kind of a tangent. We say a lot about one and done PD. Like we're like, oh, you can't impact someone if it just happens really fast.
Absolutely.
And it's like the words you say are impactful.
Absolutely.
So like, yes. It's
and
like,
you never know who's listening.
You never know who's listening. I think it's important for teachers to know that too. Like the words you say, like you asking a student about their negative experience with math can open something up in them. Yeah. So at the time you were teaching math and you started changing your language and you said something about how not only did you change your own language, but and this is so Kylie, by the way, we've kept in touch over Instagram. So we haven't seen each other in 6 years, but she is the coolest. And I love that you're like, and now I check, you started checking other people. What kind of language things did you notice that you or others were saying? And what was your correction?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's two things I really want to talk about. There's the things in my building, and then there's the things that I see that are just like in our everyday life.
Love it. Let's go.
The first is that in our building and like in any school, there are people who are like, oh, I'm not a math person, da 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 da, or the anxiety that you see. So maybe they're not saying it out loud, but their body language says that they are like overwhelmed, that they don't believe in themselves. And that's what I'm seeing, like, especially in grade 11, is just absolute meltdowns of students. And like they become a different person in the math room.
Okay. So I want you to, so just for everyone to know, Kylie is not teaching math right now-ish.
Yeah.
Like you are teaching.
I'm co-teaching a math. So I full-time religion, but 2 weeks ago, I got asked to co-teach a math 20-2 class. Now, past Kylie would have been like, no, absolutely not. And there were several people who were like, absolutely not, I'm not doing that. But I instantly started Googling as they were asking me, okay, I've never done it before. I've never actually taught high school side of math. But if I can learn it, I can teach it. And so I instantly started Googling the curriculum, like what's in 20-2 math.
And what's 20, what grade is that?
It's grade 11, and it would be like the second tier of math.
Okay.
And so, so I'm currently in there helping the teacher out. And so I initially was like, I can't do this. And then I was like, yes, you can. So I actively listen and I am learning as I go. And I am providing not only the teaching for the students, but also like the therapy side of it, because they are completely different students.
Tell us about it.
So like
and you see them early.
Yeah. So I teach them religion, and my room is very zen and quiet, and like it's just a time of reflection, and they get what they need in here. If they need to study, they study. If they need to learn, they learn. I meet them where they're at in the day. But seeing those same students in the math room was like life-changing for me. Their complete demeanor changes. They're red in the face. They're sweating profusely. They're snapping at each other. Like their brain chemistry changes. Their cortisol levels are going up, and it's all over a math problem. And they are telling themselves they can't do it, and they've convinced themselves that they are not good enough, and then they spiral. Well, I need to get into criminology and university. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I'm like, girl, like, she's like, I need a sociology degree. I'm like, I have a sociology degree. I have that, and I didn't do the math. Like I struggled with the math, and I failed stats twice in university, and I still came out with a sociology degree. But even saying that, they still didn't believe me. Like it's going to take a lot of convincing that they can do it. But having someone in there just to like acknowledge their fears and understand where they're coming from, I think is huge. And just like being their safe space and listening to them is going to make a huge difference in the end. But like you can see it. They are just, it is a flip of a switch.
A flip of a switch. What do you think is different about like a religion class and a math class that makes that happen? Or is it the class, or like what is it?
So bizarre. Like I don't know what it is, but I think that they hold math to a high, well, I mean, I know they hold math to a higher standard. And so they know that they have to receive these certain grades to get onto a certain class to be able to go to a certain thing. And so it's not, and they're very concerned about the number. Which is scary.
Like the grade.
Yeah. So like it's just a reworking of the entire framework, and just math is scary for them.
Yeah. And something you said earlier, I want to touch on when you were like, I tell them about my own experience, because that is one of the most helpful things, right? Is to be like, listen, like I failed math, like I'm fine, like that, the modeling of it. Yeah. And you said they still don't believe me.
No.
Tell me more about that. Like, so in what sense?
I say, like, I have that degree. That's what you're going to school for. If that's your goal. And it's like, yeah, but like, I'm
what?
different. Or it's like, but I can't. So yeah, they just instantly shoot it down as like, it's not possible for them to do it. So it's kind of sad to see them have that like negative self-talk.
What do you think, like, because obviously you are making such an impact, right? You're such a vibe and you are sharing your real experience. What do you feel actually makes that change? Do you feel like it's like repetitive over time of you telling that story? Like at what point do they start to de-escalate a bit?
Absolutely. I think it's like exactly like your analogy yesterday with the salt water. Like it's just overfilling their cup with like clean, fresh ideas and like positive affirmations. But it starts so early. So this is where I've seen it. And I like was enraged. My daughter had a book. She brought it over. We were reading it. We were 3 pages into this unicorn book.
Love a unicorn book. How old is she?
6.
Okay.
Very impressionable at 6 years old.
6 is the age where things start to turn.
3 pages into the book, the unicorn says, I've never been a math unicorn.
Stop!
And I shut the book and got rid of the book because like, what are we doing? Like it was in a kid's unicorn book, innocent. And that is the language that we're perpetuating. It drives me crazy.
What book is this?
I'm going to take a picture
we
of it.
need to find it.
Like I was so mad. I couldn't even take a picture of it and be like, look, Vanessa,
yeah.
Like you instantly came to my mind, like this cannot be happening. And I yelled to my husband, like, this book just talked about being a math unicorn. And I just like put it away. I was like, we're not reading this anymore. But like, if it's in that context, it's everywhere. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. It's on everything. And they are seeing that and they are letting girl math. Like, oh, it's girl math. Like that was a huge thing for a while. Like socials are also perpetuating that. And that's what they're looking at 90% of their day. So
100%. Okay, so tell me, oh my God, I'm like, how did this start? But we were talking about the language you see at school and outside. Did you rant about everything you want to rant about? Or are there more? Like, tell us more things.
I also like, it's just because I'm not in a math class now, I still, whenever like someone I work with says like something negative about math, I instantly check them. And I think that's the most important thing is you don't have to be a math person to take your sessions. I think anybody should be taking your sessions because it's for everybody to change their perspective on it. Just because you don't teach math does not mean you don't hear people talking about math in a negative way. And it's your job as an educator to shut that down. Just like you wouldn't let bullying happen or you wouldn't let anything else happen. Like you shouldn't be letting the perpetuation of negative self-talk around a subject happen.
I just want to like pause of how epic that is. Well, and like I always say, we're not all teachers of math, but we're all teachers of math attitudes.
Yeah.
And like, I think this is really cool that you're teaching religion right now. And it's still in your mind to be like, I love how you just compared it to bullying.
It's the same thing.
It really kind of in a way is, especially because so much of the math language we see at schools is pejorative. It might be like calling someone a nerd or like making fun of them for being smart or like being on the robotics team or like this idea, like, fine, it might not always be direct bullying, but treating it the same way of being like, oh, this language is harmful.
It is, yeah. And coming from a teacher especially is even more harmful. So, like, do not be a professional and use that language about a subject at all.
Yeah, I definitely have English teacher friends who are like, will say in front of their students, like, oh, like, I don't, calculating your grade, double check because I'm not a math person.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh my God. So tell me what kinds, I think this is so great. How can we check people, as you put it? What things can we say?
It's like if you're in the staff room and you hear someone talking about math in a certain way, like in any context, you could be them talking about their taxes they have to do, or they're going to get someone else to do this because they're not good at calculating the thing. Like just boosting up their confidence too and telling them like, you are capable of doing that. You can learn anything and do anything if you want to. And so, yeah, just if it's negative self-talk about themselves, like checking them and being like, no, girl, you're good. You got this. And like, you can do it. And then if they're talking about a student or if they're using that language around a student, I just call them out on it. Like, you should not be saying that around a student, or you should not be talking about math that way as insert whatever subject you teach.
What kind of reactions have you gotten?
People are like, yeah, oh yeah, you're right. Like they do understand that it is, it's negative talk. And I think people are more aware of it now that math is like.
You're changing the culture.
But like you do have to just not worry about what other people think and just say the thing.
Yeah. Whenever, you kind of confront someone and suggest that maybe they should consider a different approach, they might get a bit defensive.
Oh, absolutely.
That's okay. Doesn't mean you shouldn't
100%.
say. Yeah. And even if they don't agree in the moment, they're going to think about it. But if you never say anything, we're just like. And I love that you're transforming that school culture. And for anyone who's listening who is not a math educator, even if you're just not an educator at all, these are things we can watch out for and address, like on the street. I mean, I hear people say this kind of stuff all the time.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So it's like any opportunity you can get.
Yeah.
So give us a few things we can say. Like somebody makes a comment, like being like, oh, I'm just not a math person, or like, oh, there's like too much math in this. Like I was never naturally good at this, or they say one of those things. After you like calm down from being like, oh my God, it's happening. What are a few approaches we can take?
Well, I've always used like your approach of like, have you had a bad experience with math before?
Okay.
And just prying into like what has given you this like notion that you can't do it. Or I go to like, has someone told you you're not good at math? Or I say like, well, don't you like, you use this all the time, and I'll find an example in their life like off the bat that they can use. So people are like, oh, I'm never going to use this math again. I'm like, well, don't you build houses for a living?
Right.
Or like, don't you work in a store? Like you use math all the time. I just don't think that people realize that they're using it. So I connected back to their jobs as much as I can. But yeah, you have to like self-validate and just like ask them where they're coming from with that.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's something that someone said to them. And just prying, because they will likely open up to you about what happened, but also like relating it back to their real life. Like you do this all the time. You just don't realize it.
I love this. And I mean, I love the approach of asking, right? And seeing where they're coming from before you then like figure out what to say next.
Yeah.
And again, often just asking allows them to be like, oh yeah, like I guess it's weird that I say that.
You're
or like
providing the space for them to like open up about it, because no one's probably ever asked them.
Well, and that's the thing. Nobody's probably ever asked them. Like if you guys are listening right now, you're listening to this podcast, this is probably like maybe not, but it's probably like a normal conversation, or it's like a normalized conversation, and you're asking people that and you're talking about it. But on the whole, this is not happening, right? This is like a very like niche space, like the math therapy podcast.
It is. Yeah.
So it's like to even just ask, like you said in my session was the first time you'd been asked and responded, that can open things up, and never to underestimate the impact that can make.
Yeah.
You are so inspiring. I want to keep talking to you, but we need to go.
I mean, you have like 500 people to talk to next.
Well, and also this man is trying to get into this room for a session. Is there anything like you want to say that I didn't ask?
You have literally transformed my life.
Oh my God,
and
stop.
like, it's just keep doing what you're doing. And I think you don't understand who you're touching with all these sessions that you do. I know that you're all over the place, but there's always going to be someone from each one of those places who's going to take something from you.
That is so nice, Kylie. But like, you're the one who I want to thank, right? Like all these people you're checking, all these comments you're making, being a Zen place for students, like giving them that space, like that makes a difference. And you're probably just so used to it.
Yeah.
But you need to know that like you're changing lives every day. I should ask you the 2 questions I ask everyone before we go.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is, if you could change one thing about the way math is taught in schools, what would it be?
I would make it exactly like what you showed us yesterday, where we like make it more relatable and fun to start and then sneak it in. Because I think we just jump right into the nitty gritty of math problems instead of like, hey, you guys do this already and you've already done this. Like, tell me more about this. And so we don't make it relatable to kids at all. And I think we need to make it very relatable. In this day and age, kids don't want to do anything that's not their vibe. And if it's not something that they can see themselves doing, they're checked out.
So checked out.
Yeah.
There's so many other options for them.
Exactly.
Love it. And finally, I mean, this is funny to ask you now, but I do have to ask, if someone's listening to this whole thing and they're like, oh, Kylie was awesome, but like, no, for real, I'm just not a math person. What would you say?
You're a math person. Everybody's a math person. Like literally, I think that you just need to like check yourself and see where you're using your math. There are so many things you do in your day that you just don't realize you're using your tools. You already have them innately in you. And just because someone doesn't give you an A+ on it doesn't mean you're not doing it.
And this is the thing too, I'm going to add on to that to be like, most often when we say we're not doing math, it's because we don't count the math we're doing as valuable because it was never graded.
Exactly.
But that's just bullshit.
Yeah. You are living your life.
You're living
you're adulting with the math.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna do I never do this, but I'm just gonna do the outro right now because we're here. So we're gonna do the outro together. If you have been listening, which you have been, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Thank you so much. This is actually very, very special. I love this so much. I love that you just agreed to do this. Yeah. I love that we met 6 years ago in Grand Prairie.
And it's like nothing ever changed.
I know. I know. I love it so much. I've learned so much from you over the past 6 years. Like we've been messaging each other, like Kylie updates me. It's so great.
I had a full ass baby. Between like this.
I did not even.
Yeah, like
right, 6 years. She's 6.
Yeah, I was pregnant with her and now I'm like reading her stories about math.
Oh my God, what a full circle. The circle of life, literally. Okay, you guys can text the podcast. Me and Kylie want to know what you think. So you can hit the link in the show notes, text the podcast. Remember, we cannot see your name or your contact info. So if you want us to respond, you've got to provide that. You can DM me at Instagram at The Math Guru. You can tag me and I'll share it with Kylie. You can email me, vanessa@themathguru.ca. This is should we give them like a piece of homework? How about it's just like to check themselves?
Show me your math. Show me your math.
Show me your math.
Using your math every day.
Okay, there it is. So text us, DM us, do something, show us your math. This was so fun. Okay, we're gonna go to my session now. Okay, bye. Hi.
No, not right now. Probably at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
We're just recording a podcast. Don't edit this out, David. This is the real life in a school.
Is there a session in here? Yeah.
Yeah, we are having a session.
You're not invited.